Tom Watson, one of the most beloved legends in golf, saw both greatness and torment as his career came to a close. After years of success, admiration, and unforgettable moments on the course, the game that had given him so much seemed to turn against him. It was almost as if he was being tested in the harshest way possible, facing challenges that felt unfair for someone who had given so much to the sport. Watson's legacy in golf is one of greatness, but it's also marked by moments of deep controversy, personal conviction, and challenges that tested him both on and off the course. In 1990, he made headlines not just for his achievements in golf, but for a bold stand against discrimination. He resigned from the Kansas City Country Club after the club rejected a membership applicant solely because he was Jewish. Watson, whose wife at the time was Jewish, felt that this decision was not just wrong, it was personal. If someone of his family's background wasn't welcome, then he didn't want to be part of it either. His resignation wasn't quiet. It was public, controversial, and sent shockwaves through the golf community. It was a moment that showed Watson wasn't just a champion on the course. He was willing to take a stand when it mattered. But controversy followed him in other ways as well. In the 1983 Skins game, an exhibition event featuring some of the biggest names in golf, Watson confronted Gary Player over what he believed was a potential rules violation. In a sport that prides itself on honesty and integrity, calling out another legend like Player was no small matter. The incident sparked heated discussions in the golfing world and added another layer to Watson's reputation, not just as a fierce competitor, but as someone who believed in upholding the spirit of the game, no matter who was involved. Years later, Watson found himself at the center of yet another storm, this time as the captain of the 2014 U.S. Ryder Cup team. The Ryder Cup is one of the most prestigious and pressure-filled events in golf, and leading the American team is both an honor and a challenge. But Watson's leadership style didn't sit well with many of the modern PGA Tour players. He was seen as out of touch, a man from a different era trying to lead a team that had changed in ways he may not have fully understood. The criticism came to a head after the U.S. team suffered a disappointing loss, and Phil Mickelson, one of the team's biggest stars, publicly called out Watson's decisions as captain. The fallout led to a heated debate over whether Watson's old-school approach was still effective in a changing game. But through it all, through the controversies, the criticisms, and the challenges, Watson remained one of golf's all-time greats. His battles with Jack Nicklaus in the late 1970s and early 1980s were legendary, producing some of the most unforgettable moments in the sport's history. Their duels, especially in major championships, weren't just competitions. They were masterpieces of skill, strategy, and sportsmanship that captivated fans around the world. And then there were the victories, 8 major championships, including 5 Open championships, 2 Masters titles, and 1 U.S. Open. His dominance on links courses, particularly in the Open Championship, became the stuff of legend. Few players in history have ever controlled the unpredictable, windswept fairways of links golf the way Watson did. And his brilliance didn't stop there. His career was filled with extraordinary moments that defined him as one of the greatest golfers of all time. Watson joined the PGA Tour in 1971, ready to make his mark. Just 2 years later, in 1973, he found a key figure in his career, his caddy, Bruce Edwards. They teamed up at the St. Louis tournament at Norwood Hills Country Club and immediately clicked. Edwards would go on to carry Watson's bag for most of his career. Becoming more than just a caddy, he was a trusted friend. Watson first made a serious run at a major championship at the 1974 U.S. Open at Winged Foot. He held the 54-hole lead, but things fell apart in the final round. It was a crushing loss, but something important came from it. Byron Nelson, the legendary golfer turned broadcaster, approached him in the locker room. Nelson liked Watson's aggressive style and offered to help him refine his game. Watson was honored, but didn't take him up on the offer right away. A few months later, while playing in the Byron Nelson Classic in Dallas, he finally visited Nelson's home. That meeting turned into a lifelong friendship and mentorship, much like Nelson's earlier relationship with Ken Venturi in the 1950s. Just 2 weeks after his disappointment at Winged Foot, Watson bounced back with his first PGA Tour victory at the Western Open. He stormed back from 6 shots behind in the final round at Butler National, proving he had the mental toughness to win. Under Nelson's guidance, Watson fine-tuned his swing and course management, and in 1975, he won his first major at the Open Championship in his very first appearance. He made a clutch 20-foot birdie putt on the 72nd hole to force a playoff with Jack Newton at Carnoustie. The next day, Watson edged out Newton by a single stroke, thanks in part to an incredible chip-in eagle at the 14th hole. His win put him in elite company. Only Ben Hogan, Tony Lema, and Ben Curtis had won the Open Championship on their first try. In 1977, Watson's rivalry with Jack Nicklaus took center stage. First, at the Masters, he went toe-to-toe with Nicklaus in the final round. Tied at the 17th hole, Watson sank a 20-foot birdie putt to pull ahead, then sealed his first green jacket after Nicklaus bogeyed the 18th. Later that summer, their showdown at the Open Championship at Turnberry became one of the greatest battles in golf history. After 3 rounds, both were 3 shots ahead of the field, setting the stage for a legendary final day. They matched each other shot for shot, entering the 17th hole tied again. Watson birdied while Nicklaus missed, and on 18, Watson's approach shot landed 2 feet from the pin. Nicklaus, in the rough, somehow got his ball on the green and drained a 40-foot birdie putt. Watson calmly knocked in his short birdie putt to win, finishing with a record-breaking 12 under 268. The rest of the field wasn't even close. Third place was 10 strokes behind. Watson had a stellar 1978 season, winning 5 times, but he suffered 2 major heartbreaks. At the Masters, he needed a par on the final hole to force a playoff with Gary Player, but he missed a 10-foot putt. Later that summer, at the PGA Championship, he entered the final round with a 5-shot lead, but lost in a 3-man playoff to John Mahaffey. That tournament was as close as Watson ever got to winning the PGA Championship, the one major that would elude him. The next few years cemented Watson's place among the greats. In 1980, he dominated the Open Championship at Muirfield with a brilliant third-round 64 and won by 4 strokes. He was the PGA Tour's leading money winner for the 4th straight year, racking up 6 victories. The following year, he won his 2nd Masters title, beating Nicklaus and Johnny Miller by 2 strokes. But perhaps his most famous moment came at the 1982 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. Locked in a duel with Nicklaus once again, Watson found himself in trouble on the 17th hole. His tee shot landed in the thick rough, leaving an impossible chip. But Watson, full of confidence, told his caddy, "I'm going to make it." He did exactly that. His chip shot hit the flagstick and dropped in for a miraculous birdie. He birdied the 18th as well, sealing his first and only U.S. Open title. A month later, he won the Open Championship at Royal Troon, becoming only the 3rd golfer since World War II, after Ben Hogan and Lee Trevino, to win the U.S. Open and the Open Championship in the same year. Tiger Woods would later join that list in 2000. Watson's last major championship came at the 1983 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. It was his 5th Open title and the only one he won in England. His other 4 were in Scotland. The following year, he had another close call at the Open, trying to win 3 in a row. But a bogey on the famous road hole at St. Andrews opened the door for Seve Ballesteros, who took the victory. After 1984, Watson's dominance faded. He didn't win another PGA Tour event for 3 years, though he finally broke the drought at the 1987 Nabisco Championship. In the late 1980s and early 90s, he had several close calls, including near misses at the Masters and the U.S. Open. By the mid-1990s, his game rebounded, and he won the 1996 Memorial Tournament and his final PGA Tour title at the 1998 MasterCard Colonial at age 48. Watson transitioned to the Champions Tour in 1999, where he found success, winning 14 times, including 6 senior majors. But even in his 50s and 60s, he proved he could still compete with the younger generation. At the 2009 Open Championship at Turnberry, he nearly pulled off the impossible. At 59 years old, he led after 3 rounds and needed only a par on the final hole to win a record, tying 6th Open. But his approach shot ran just over the green, and he failed to save par. In the playoff, Stuart Sink pulled away, leaving Watson heartbroken. He later admitted that the loss tore his guts out, but he was moved by the overwhelming support he received from fans worldwide. Watson continued playing in majors for several more years, receiving exemptions due to his past success. In 2015 at St. Andrews, he made his final Open Championship appearance, walking over the Swilcan Bridge for one last time. The following year, he played his last Masters, acknowledging that he could no longer compete at the highest level. Even though he stepped away from competitive golf, Watson still made his mark. In 2018, at age 68, he won the Masters Par 3 contest, becoming the oldest winner in its history. And in 2019, he played his final event on British soil at the Senior Open Championship, closing the book on an incredible career. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now. They called him the Playboy of the PGA Tour, a hustler who owned bars and managed topless bands, a man with a death stare that could break opponents before they even swung. But Raymond Floyd wasn't just golf's bad boy. He was a champion who rewrote the rules of longevity and left a legacy that still sparks debates today. Most golfers peak in their 30s and fade away. Floyd? He won his first PGA Tour event at 20 and his last at 49. He conquered golf across 4 different decades and became the first player in history to win on both the PGA Tour and Senior Tour in the same year. Then he had the audacity to criticize the Hall of Fame that inducted him. This is the story of how a North Carolina hustler became one of golf's most complex champions, and why his controversial opinions might actually be protecting the sport he dominated for so long. Raymond Floyd was born with a golf club in his hands and rebellion in his heart. Growing up in North Carolina, he could play just as well left-handed as right-handed. His athletic ability was so impressive that the Cleveland Indians offered him a pitching contract in 1960. But Floyd chose golf instead. He attended the University of North Carolina for exactly 1 semester before turning professional in 1961. His first PGA Tour victory came in March 1963 at the St. Petersburg Open. He was just 20 years old. But winning tournaments wasn't enough to pay the bills back then, so Floyd did what many golfers did in that era. He hustled. The most famous hustling story happened in the mid-1960s in El Paso, Texas. Floyd arrived looking to make easy money off some unknown local player. The match was sponsored by Titanic Thompson, a legendary gambler who loved setting up these high-stakes showdowns. Floyd put up $1,000 of his own money. Thousands more were bet by backers on both sides. Then he met his opponent, Lee Trevino. At the time, Trevino was just an assistant professional who cleaned golf carts and shined shoes. Floyd was already a PGA Tour winner. The first day, Trevino beat Floyd by 3 shots, even though Floyd shot 66. The second day, Trevino shot 63 to Floyd's 65. Floyd was getting destroyed and losing serious money. But instead of walking away, he doubled down. He pushed for a third match and raised the stakes. That final round, Floyd shot 63 to Trevino's 64. He won by 1 stroke and evened up the money. But the experience left a lasting impression. Floyd later said, "After that, I didn't play anybody I didn't know for big money." Stories say Floyd would stick around after official tournaments to hustle club members. This wasn't just about money. It was about survival. Professional golf offered no guaranteed income back then. Every shot mattered because losing meant you might not eat that week. This pressure cooker environment forged Floyd's competitive character. The constant stress of high-stakes money games gave him a killer instinct that would define his entire career. He learned to perform when everything was on the line, and he learned that intimidation could be just as powerful as skill. Away from golf, Floyd built a reputation as the tour's ultimate playboy. He co-owned a bar in San Francisco called Coke's, where he would occasionally play guitar on stage. But his most shocking business venture was investing in the Ladybirds, a topless band. This lifestyle reportedly staggered Floyd's friends on tour. While other golfers lived quiet, conservative lives, Floyd was bold and brash. He lived on his own terms and didn't care what anyone thought. This confidence off the course translated directly to his intimidating presence on it. Floyd was known throughout the golf world for his death stare. He had a large, imposing stature and an intimidating personality that could unsettle opponents before they even started playing. But this wasn't just natural meanness, it was psychological warfare. The most famous example happened during a Ryder Cup match in the 1980s. Seve Ballesteros, the European star, was reportedly coughing at strategic moments. The cough seemed to only appear when American players were hitting their shots. Ballesteros had a reputation for gamesmanship and creating conflict in Ryder Cup play. But Floyd wasn't having it. He walked right up to Ballesteros and said, "I heard you had a cough yesterday. You won't be having one at all today." The result? Seve's illness mysteriously disappeared. Floyd had called out one of golf's biggest stars and won the psychological battle before the first shot was hit. This incident shows how Floyd understood the mental game better than almost anyone. In golf, confidence and focus are everything. If you can get inside an opponent's head, you've already gained a huge advantage. Floyd's intimidating presence wasn't just personality, it was strategy. Most golfers are done winning by their mid-40s. Floyd was just getting started on his second act. His career longevity is almost unbelievable when you look at the numbers. Floyd won PGA Tour events in 4 different decades, the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Only one other golfer in history has accomplished this feat, Sam Snead. That's it, just 2 players in over a century of professional golf. His final PGA Tour victory came at the Ryder Open in 1992. He was 49 years old, competing against players young enough to be his children. Most golfers would have been happy to just make the cut at that age. Floyd won the tournament, but that wasn't even the most impressive part of his 1992 season. A few months later, right after turning 50, Floyd won the GTE North Classic on the Senior Tour. This made him the first player in golf history to win on both the PGA Tour and Senior Tour in the same calendar year. At the time, Floyd downplayed the achievement. He said, "It's not really a great big deal. It was a unique situation." But his actions told a different story. Floyd donated his entire $67,500 prize to hurricane relief following Hurricane Andrew. The win was deeply emotional for Floyd. His oldest son, Raymond Jr., was waiting at the 18th fairway with tears in his eyes. Floyd later said seeing his son's reaction made the victory special. But what really stands out is Floyd's competitive mindset at 50. He said, "I did not want to waltz in here when I turned 50. That's not the Ray Floyd that I like." Even as a senior citizen, he was driven to dominate. Floyd continued his dominance on the Senior Tour, winning 14 times between 1992 and 2000. 4 of those wins were senior major championships. At the end of 1992, he was ranked 14th in the official World Golf Ranking, 14th in the world at age 50. You might think being inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in 1989 would make Floyd a cheerleader for the institution. Instead, he became one of its harshest critics. Floyd was inducted with 22 PGA Tour wins and 4 major championships. His resume was unquestionable, but as the years went by, he watched the Hall of Fame induct players he felt didn't meet the standard. Floyd made his views very clear after later induction announcements. He said, "The bar has been lowered. Guys get voted into the Hall of Fame who don't belong, who lack the numbers. I'm very upset at the Hall of Fame for that. It's not fair to the people who went in early." His personal benchmark was strict. 1 major should not get you into the Hall of Fame. Maybe 1 major and 40 wins. You should have at least 2 majors. At least. Wow, there are guys in there that it's a joke. It takes integrity away from the term Hall of Fame. Floyd wasn't speaking in generalities. He named specific players he felt didn't belong. Fred Couples with 15 wins and 1 major. Colin Montgomery with 31 European Tour wins but 0 majors. Jim Furyk with 17 wins and 1 major. His criticism wasn't bitter jealousy, it was passionate protection of excellence. Raymond Floyd's career spans one of the most dramatic transformations in golf history. He started in an era of high-stakes hustling where players literally fought for survival. He finished in the highly structured, commercialized modern tours where guaranteed money eliminated most financial pressure. Floyd didn't just adapt to these changes. He thrived across both landscapes. His formative years in money games gave him mental toughness that served him throughout his career. His intimidating presence became a legendary weapon that opponents feared for decades. His 4 major championships and 22 PGA Tour victories would be impressive enough. But his true legacy lies in his distinctive personality and willingness to challenge norms. He was never just a name on a leaderboard. He was a compelling character who commanded attention and evoked strong reactions. Raymond Floyd didn't ask for admiration. He earned it through decades of excellence, controversy, and unwavering competitive spirit. His legacy reminds us that the most memorable champions aren't always the most polite ones. Imagine the love of your life passes away, leaving a massive hole in your world. Instead of finding a way to heal, you take a dark and shocking path. This was the case with English golfer Tony Jacklin, whose life took a series of disappointing and troubling turns, including being involved in a highly publicized pedophile case that left many in disbelief. After the tragic death of his first wife, Jacklin's personal life took a controversial turn. He became involved in a relationship with a 16-year-old waitress named Donna Methvin, which quickly became became a huge tabloid scandal. The public was shocked, and it caused quite a stir, leaving a stain on his otherwise successful career and reputation. The intense media attention was hard for Jacklin to handle, and it definitely affected his image during that time. However, Jacklin eventually moved on and found happiness again. He later married Astrid, his current wife, and they've been together ever since, leaving behind the scandalous chapter of his past. Apart from his love life, he also faced some financial troubles. This highlights another difficult aspect of his personal life. Jacklin hasn't been shy about talking about the tough financial times he's faced over the years. Despite his success on the golf course, he found himself struggling with investments that didn't go as planned and some hefty tax liabilities. It's something he's opened up about, showing a side of him that wasn't all about winning trophies and playing golf. For many, it was a surprise to hear the golf legend talk about these struggles, as his career had seemed so successful from the outside. But Jacklin's honesty about those challenges made him more relatable, reminding everyone that even the brightest stars can face tough times behind the scenes. As if his personal problems weren't enough, his criticism of certain tournaments also sparked controversy. Jacklin hasn't held back when it comes to his thoughts on the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series. He's been very outspoken, saying that the series has hurt both the Ryder Cup and the sport of professional golf overall. Jacklin believes the whole thing has caused division, especially when it comes to the Ryder Cup, which he's so passionate about. He's also been particularly critical of Greg Norman, the leader of LIV Golf, questioning his approach and leadership. Jacklin feels that Norman's role in all of this has only added to the controversy and tension within the golfing world. But his outspoken nature didn't stop there. His strong opinions about modern golf also landed him in hot water with fans. Jacklin is no stranger to speaking his mind, and sometimes his blunt opinions have gotten him into trouble. He's never been afraid to call things as he sees them, whether it's about the direction modern golf is heading or the changes in golf equipment over the years. His take on these topics has definitely stirred up some heated debates within the golfing world. Some agree with him, while others think he's a bit too harsh. Either way, Jacklin's honesty and willingness to share his thoughts have made him a pretty memorable figure, even if it sparked a few controversies along the way. Despite all these controversies, his career was remarkable. Jacklin got off to a great start in golf, winning the Lincolnshire Junior Championship 4 times from 1958 to 1961. In 1958, at just 14, he took the title with a 162 score, playing off a 12 handicap. By 1961, his handicap dropped to 3, and he won his 4th straight title, finishing 20 strokes ahead of the runner-up with a score of 138. That same year, he competed in the Boys Amateur Championship at Dalmahoy, representing England and Scotland in team matches. Despite a strong showing, he was knocked out in the last 64 stage by Hans Huber Giesen, but Jacklin bounced back in September, winning the Lincolnshire Open by 8 strokes, with his father also taking part in the event for a memorable family moment. In 1962, Jacklin turned pro and started working as an assistant to Bill Shankland at Potter's Bar Golf Club. He quickly made a name for himself, qualifying for the 1963 Open Championship and finishing in a solid tie for 30th. That year, he was also named Rookie of the Year by Henry Cotton. Jacklin kept building on his success, winning the Coombe Hill Assistants Tournament in 1964 and later finishing tied for 3rd in the Blacksnit Tournament. He had a strong 1965 season too, earning $1,000 at the Carling World Open and winning the Assistants Championship in a thrilling playoff. He wrapped up the year 12th in the order of merit. In 1966, Jacklin's performance picked up again with a 3rd-place finish at the South African Masters and a victory in the Kimberley 4000 tournament. He also had a runner-up finish at the Red Fusion tournament in Jersey and ended the year 5th in the order of merit. Jacklin's career kept rising, with a win at the 1967 New Zealand PGA Championship and solid finishes in both the Australian and Far East circuits. He also made his mark at the 1967 Masters, finishing 16th after a tough final round. By the end of the year, he'd won 2 British PGA tournaments and earned his first Ryder Cup selection in 1967. Although the U.S. team won the Ryder Cup that year, Jacklin performed well, winning 2 matches and having another with his partner Dave Thomas. Jacklin's career took off after he earned his PGA Tour card in 1967. By 1968, he had several strong finishes, including a win at the Jacksonville Open, making him the first British golfer to win a major U.S. event in decades. He ended the year 29th in the money list. In 1969, Jacklin made history, winning the Open Championship at Royal Lytham, becoming the first British golfer to take the title since 1951. Later that year, he became part of the famous Ryder Cup moment with Jack Nicklaus at Royal Birkdale, where the match ended in a tie. Their mutual respect led them to co-design a golf course called The Concession. Jacklin's 1970 season was even better. He won the U.S. Open by a commanding 7 strokes at Hazeltine, earning a 10-year exemption. He also had solid finishes in multiple PGA events, but his focus shifted back to Europe, where he won several tournaments, including the WD&HO Wills Tournament and the Lancome Trophy. Though 1971 and 1972 were tougher years, Jacklin continued to rack up notable performances, including a near miss at the 1972 Open Championship, where a late mishap cost him the win. Despite the heartbreak, Jacklin kept competing on the European circuit and won the Viella PGA Championship in 1972. He would later reflect that the 1972 Open was a turning point in his career, leaving him emotionally drained. Jacklin's career took a bit of a downturn in the early 70s. After struggling in the 1973 PGA Tour, he played only a few events, including some on the European Tour, where he still had success. In 1973, he won the Italian Open and Dunlop Masters and finished third in the Ryder Cup. In 1974, he defended his title in the Los Lagartos Open and had another solid season in Europe. In 1975, Jacklin returned to the PGA Tour, but didn't see the same success. His best finish came in 1977 when he was runner-up at the Bing Crosby National Pro-Am. By 1978, he had to step away due to a wrist injury. He continued playing in Europe, winning a few more events, including the 1976 Kerry Gold International Classic. Jacklin's Ryder Cup appearances were key in the 70s and 80s, and in 1979, he made his final appearance as a player, contributing to Europe's first Ryder Cup victory with European players. He also captained Europe from 1983 to 1989, leading them to historic wins, including their first victory in the U.S. in 1987. Though his playing days were winding down, his influence on the Ryder Cup only grew, making him a key figure in European golf history. After retiring from regular competition, Jacklin stayed active in golf, playing on the Senior PGA Tour from 1994 to 1997. He picked up 2 wins at the First of America Classic in 1994 and the Franklin Quest Championship in 1995. Jacklin also competed on the European Seniors Tour between 1998 and 2002, and even finished as runner-up in the 1998 Jersey Seniors Open. Beyond playing, Jacklin transitioned into golf course design and launched a successful business. He's designed several courses, including a 9-hole par 3 course at the St. Pierre Park Hotel in Guernsey. His achievements didn't go unnoticed. He was a runner-up for the BBC Sports Personality of the Year award in both 1969 and 1970. Jacklin's contributions to the sport were recognized with an OBE in 1970, which was later upgraded to a CBE in 1990. In 2002, he was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame. And that's a wrap for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. Nick Faldo, a name synonymous with golfing excellence, etched his name in the annals of the sport with his remarkable achievements. His 6 major championships and numerous other titles solidified his place among the most celebrated golfers of his generation. However, behind the facade of success and the precision of his swing, a darker, more turbulent story unfolded. One that reveals the complexities of a man driven by ambition and plagued by personal turmoil. The 116th Open Championship at Muirfield Golf Links in 1987 marked a pivotal moment in Faldo's career. After years of relentless dedication and a relentless pursuit of perfection, he finally achieved his lifelong dream of winning a major championship. Trailing by 1 shot heading into the final round, Faldo's unwavering focus and consistent play propelled him to victory, a testament to his mental fortitude and unwavering belief in his abilities. Born in Hertfordshire, England in 1957, Nick Faldo was an only child, raised in a supportive environment that nurtured his athletic pursuits. He excelled in various sports, including swimming and cycling, showcasing a natural talent and competitive spirit from a young age. At 14, inspired by Jack Nicklaus's Masters victory, Faldo discovered his true calling in golf. Despite his late start in the sport, Faldo's dedication and natural ability quickly propelled him to success. He honed his skills with relentless practice, his determination to become a professional golfer unwavering. He captured the British Youth Open and the English Championship, his talent catching the attention of the golfing world. Faldo's professional career began in 1976, and his rise to prominence was swift. He became one of the leading players of his era, his name synonymous with consistency, precision, and an unwavering focus on the game. He amassed an impressive 41 professional titles, including 6 major championships, and held the top spot in the world rankings for 97 weeks. However, behind the facade of success and the meticulousness of his swing, Faldo harbored secrets, personal struggles that threatened to derail his career and tarnish his image. His relationships with women, marked by infidelity and a seemingly insatiable desire for change, painted a picture of a man grappling with his own demons. Faldo's first marriage to Melanie Rockall in 1979 began with promise but quickly unraveled. Rockall later revealed that Faldo's demanding nature and his expectation that she prioritize his career above all else created an unsustainable dynamic. Their divorce, finalized before Faldo's rise to golfing stardom, left Rockall feeling emotionally scarred and financially marginalized. Faldo's second marriage to Gil Bennett in 1986 produced 3 children but ultimately succumbed to his infidelity. His affair with a young golfing student, Brenna Cipolak, shattered the illusion of a stable family life and led to a bitter divorce in 1995. Bennett, left to pick up the pieces, received a substantial settlement, while Faldo continued his relationship with Cipolak. His third marriage to Valerie Brashear in 2001 followed a similar pattern. Despite Brashear's sacrifices, giving up her career to support Faldo and their daughter, the relationship crumbled. Faldo's restlessness and his tendency towards boredom, as described by his former father-in-law, led to another divorce in 2006. Faldo's pursuit of personal happiness continued, and he eventually found stability in his fourth marriage to Lindsay DeMarco in 2020. However, the scars of his past relationships and the controversies surrounding his infidelity remain a part of his story, a reminder of the complexities and contradictions that can exist even in the lives of those who achieve extraordinary success. Nick Faldo, a name etched in the pantheon of European golfing greats, embarked on his professional journey in 1976, his path quickly paved with victories and a burgeoning reputation for excellence. He swiftly ascended the ranks, his talent and dedication evident in the numerous titles he amassed. In 1977, at the tender age of 20, Faldo made his Ryder Cup debut, becoming the youngest player to ever grace the prestigious competition. His inaugural Ryder Cup performance was nothing short of spectacular. Partnering with the experienced Peter Oosterhuis, Faldo showcased his competitive fire and unwavering composure, securing victories against formidable American pairings, including the legendary duo of Jack Nicklaus and Ray Floyd. This early success foreshadowed a career that would be defined by clutch performances and an unwavering pursuit of victory. Faldo's first individual triumph came that same year, capturing the Skol Lager tournament and signaling his arrival as a force to be reckoned with. His most notable victory of the season, however, came against the formidable Tom Watson in the singles round of the Open Championship, a performance that earned him the coveted Rookie of the Year award and solidified his status as a rising star in the world of golf. The following year, Faldo continued his ascent, claiming his first PGA Championship title with another display of exceptional skill and determination. He narrowly missed out on winning the Open Championship that year, finishing a respectable 4 strokes behind the victor. Despite a disappointing defeat as part of the first European team to lose to America in the Ryder Cup, Faldo's resilience and unwavering belief in his abilities fueled his determination to bounce back stronger. And bounce back he did. Faldo staged a remarkable comeback, securing consecutive victories in the PGA Championship in 1980 and 1981, showcasing his consistency and his ability to perform under pressure. The following year brought further success with a victory at the Sea Pines Heritage Classic in the U.S. and a successful defense of his Car Care Plan International title. However, despite a strong showing in the 1985 Open Championship, the coveted Claret Jug remained out of reach. Faldo's relentless pursuit of a major championship title led him to embark on a transformative journey, one that would redefine his swing and solidify his place among the golfing greats. Recognizing the need for greater efficiency and control, he sought the guidance of renowned coach David Ledbetter. Together, they embarked on a rigorous training regimen, with Faldo dedicating himself to perfecting a more compact and efficient swing. This transformation was not without its challenges. Faldo spent countless hours on the practice range, hitting thousands of balls each day, his determination unwavering. He endured setbacks and moments of doubt, but his belief in the process and his unwavering commitment to improvement fueled his perseverance. The fruits of his labor began to blossom in the early 1980s, culminating in a breakthrough victory at the 1987 Open Championship. Trailing the leader by one stroke heading into the final round, Faldo faced a daunting task, but his newfound swing and mental fortitude proved to be the winning combination. He remained composed under pressure, executing his game plan flawlessly, and on the final hole, he sank a crucial putt to secure his first major championship title. Faldo carried his winning momentum into the 1990 Masters tournament, where he once again demonstrated his exceptional skills and mental fortitude. Despite not holding the lead throughout the tournament, he managed to force a playoff with Raymond Floyd. In a dramatic turn of events, Floyd's errant shot found the water, paving the way for Faldo to claim his second consecutive Masters title, a feat achieved by only a select few in the history of the tournament. That same year, Faldo further solidified his dominance by capturing his second Open Championship, winning by a commanding 5 strokes. In 1992, Faldo etched his name in golfing history once again, capturing the claret jug for the 3rd time at the Open Championship. His exceptional performance throughout the tournament showcased his mastery of links golf and his ability to conquer the challenging conditions. He also continued his success on the European Tour, earning the Order of Merit for the 2nd time in his career. His impressive earnings of €1,158,978, setting a new world record. The following year, Faldo added another victory to his impressive resume, securing his 3rd win at the Carroll's Irish Open. Despite being a favorite to win the Open Championship that year, he faced stiff competition and ultimately fell short, his hopes dashed by an opponent's exceptional final round performance. Faldo's journey through the late 1980s and early 1990s was a testament to his dedication, his resilience, and his unwavering pursuit of excellence. He faced challenges and setbacks, but his commitment to continuous improvement and his ability to adapt his game propelled him to the pinnacle of the sport, solidifying his legacy as one of the greatest golfers of his generation.